Hello, my beautiful light beings. Welcome back to the Magic Exists podcast with Dani Margeaux. I have a wonderful guest here. It is rooted with Holly. She uses sound, story, and the Akashic realm to be a cosmic bridge of universal and ancestral wisdom. I met her actually maybe a couple years ago, and we had the same teacher, Akashic April, who's actually also been on this beautiful podcast. But welcome, Holly.
Hi, thank you so much, Danny. I love that intro. It feels so good. I got the chills. So thank you for having me. Thank you for being here too.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the Akashic Records, and then we're going to go into a reading where I'm going to read Holly, and we're going to just kind of show and display what a reading looks like with me and in the records. And so okay, we have the same, we were talking a little bit before we started to press record that we have the same teacher, and one teacher, because I know we both have had several teachers to expand and really, actually, let's just start with that question. Why did you feel called to have two teachers or several teachers?
Okay, several teachers. I felt the call to do that was because intuitively, I think I've always known that everyone has their own unique style. And it was important for me to learn in terms of how those styles work and then make it your own, create it your own. With April, it was a beautiful place to begin. And then I wanted more. So then I kept going. And then after that, I wanted more. So I kept going. And so I think each teacher kind of gives you different tidbits of wisdom, how to go about it, how to handle certain situations in the records itself. And then, like I said, you just build it on your own. And I think that's a beautiful process because you learn so much from each person, and the way that they take care of their own records and how they treat their clients as well. So I think for me, it was just all about learning and learning how to work in it with different people.
I agree. I think everyone has like their own medicine because their energy, right? Their frequency and them sharing that with you is like activates something else in you. And I also think you and I were we grew with April. I don't even think she had the second level that she has now, and
Mm-mm.
so we had to find it elsewhere. But for me, it was very like divinely guided, right? Like for her, I found her within a week. She's the first person I found. I booked her,
Yep.
and then it was a beautiful, I did like 50 readings with from her, beautiful teachings, but I felt like there was something, like you said, I wanted to structure it to help support the clients in like a different way, right? And so then that's where
Yeah.
I went to Nikki Novo. And okay, so I want to ask you, because I forgot to ask you in the beginning, what is your strongest clair and how does that present in your life and in your work?
Oh, yeah. My strongest clair is the clairsentience feeling.
Wow, I think you're the only
Feeling.
one who's
Yeah.
said that so far on this podcast. Cool, tell me more.
Yes. Absolutely. And when I really look back, I've had a couple moments actually recently where I've looked back and I've worked with my inner child, and she's also told me it's always been there, that she always had it. And then we start to go back in memories and we start to remember all of the times that it popped up for us as a child, as a teen. And that caused a lot of confusion because I always deemed myself as the sensitive one, as the overly sensitive one that took too much on. And a lot of the times it actually wasn't even mine to carry. I was just feeling a lot of what was around me. And so now in this practice and where I am, I'm so grateful for where I'm at, but I have the discernment of knowing when it is mine and when it's not. And it's played out in so many ways in my life. I mean, to this day, I think I use clairsentience for almost 90% of everything that I do now. Um, I feel so deeply, whether it's through sessions that I do for other people and just my regular day life, like taking up the trash or doing anything else. It's always there. It's always been so prominent. And I used to think it was my demise, but now I realize it's my superpower. And I'm so in love with the fact that I have this gift and ability to even strengthen it now. So yeah, that's mine.
Are you able to give an example of like a situation, like even like taking out the trash, like what that
Yeah.
would be like? Because for me, clairsentience is actually my least strongest. And I get it more in like I can get a physical reaction or a physical pain from like a client that I'm reading. So I'm curious how that, yeah, presents if you have like an example.
Absolutely. I think the silliest and easiest one that I can describe is if I'm making a decision these days, or if I just want to go anywhere, I'll feel the heat in my hands. I'll feel something in my stomach. I'll feel the pressure in my body. So that usually tells me yes or no, or this feels really good or it doesn't. And without realizing, I mean, I'll sit in my bed on my bed and read a book. And I'm reading How to Be a Badass. And there are some pages where just like my body is on fire and I could literally feel the pressure in my hands. And I know that it's meant for me to see. I know that I'm meant to read that page and really feel and discern it in the way that I am. So I think that's the silliest one. I always feel it in my hands. I always feel it in my heart and my stomach. And there's times where it's a little too much and I have to ask, okay, let's calm down because sometimes it could be a little overwhelming and it feels like my body's on fire. So yeah, I think that's one that I always constantly feel.
I love that. And as you're saying that, I got goosebumps and I was like, wait, I do get goosebumps when when something is really resonant or I'm supposed to take like an extra
Yeah,
listen or extra look at it. And
yeah,
so that's absolutely so beautiful. And I love that book, You Are a Badass as well. I kind of want to talk a little bit about because I'm going to start teaching the Akashic Records. And this is something, it's such a beautiful point of view because we've been taught by, one of the same teachers and the prayer. The prayer is a big
hmm
thing, a big intention when accessing the records. And so for me, April taught us a prayer, and I would use that diligently to enter, with our names, and names hold frequencies. And so when you're saying your name, you're accessing that energy. And at that time, I don't think I knew. I just was placing the intention to access, right? And
yeah,
then once I went to Nikki Novo's class, she doesn't teach a prayer at all, but she is very heavy on like protections. And so I would like protect and do like this whole protocol before entering. And so I think for like a year and a half, I didn't do a prayer. But started happening was when I started doing a lot of readings, like I would have a reading and then I'd have a half an hour break and then I'd have another reading and then I'd have half an hour break. It was actually easier to do the prayer because I can tap in with the frequency of that person and then
mm,
close the session, quite quickly. And the prayer that I use now is kind of like what we just talked about. It's part of April's, a part of my own that I've channeled, and like all these beautiful frequencies that is like created into this like new beautiful intention
mm.
to access the record. So I'm curious, like, what is your take on using the prayer?
My take on using the prayer is, again, and this could be, wrong or right, I don't know, but I think it's uniquely designed to you. And I think you have to create it. You have to hold it in your heart and know that it's for your soul. It's the way that you access your records. So then why would you go and follow the steps of maybe someone else's prayer? Yes, it gives you the guidelines. Yes, it gives you the proper steps on beginning that process of beginning to tap in. But then over time, you create it on your own because this is your unique blueprint. This is your unique Akashic records that have been, with you for, oh my God, I mean, thousands of lifetimes, I feel like. So, you have to create it and then you start to channel the wisdom, you start to channel the prayer process that your team uniquely gives you. And I think that is the funnest and best part of the process. When that started to happen to me, I was like, okay, now this is where the magic really happens. So I think it's a combo, like follow the prayer process of the teachers that you're meant to work with at first, but then be open and allow yourself to be to be the channel for your own prayer process. So it's a little bit of both.
I love that answer because that's literally in my marketing, which I'm sure you haven't even seen, right? It's like finding your specific soul cosmic language, right? And
Yeah.
what you said, right? You use this foundation of what you're taught, right? There is like a fundamental, level to access these beautiful records, right? It's like a gift. It's like you're reactivating this like beautiful gift you had in another life, and you're learning it from the person you're meant to learn it for a reason. But then you go and play and you go and bring curiosity and you go and bring magic and things unfold like never before. And I know this is something I've talked about before, but like DNA activations, healing with like soul families, like all these beautiful things that have happened in the records, like no one's taught me that, right? Like my records taught it to me. And so it's like once
Yeah.
you realize the foundational work, you're able to like explore in there with your team. And it's like, it's so fun.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I completely agree. And I think really the whole experience of tapping into the Akashic Records is finding your own voice, finding your own truth, and creating your own toolbox along the way. You're going to have many teachers that come and provide those tools for you, and some are going to resonate and some are not, and that's okay. But then you create your own, and I think that's the funnest part about
Yeah, and I don't think I told you this, but one of our readings that we did in the past, you rewrote a soul contract. And this was your own contract, but we were in your own records at the same time, I believe. And I remember seeing it so specifically. And I was like, I was meant to be in this reading with you so that I could learn how to do that. Because literally that next day, like a client came and it was like, I saw the contract. I was like, oh my goodness. And I love how like these breadcrumbs, right, of like connectivity and influence can help like just expand and make like a bigger impact for the people that we're serving.
it. Absolutely. Yeah, it's the best thing. And on that topic too, is the more that you tap in, the more that you just learn on your own. And I think you discussed that earlier. Like there's been so many times where I'm in a session or in my own records and something that I've never seen, that I've never felt appears. And then they teach you and you learn it and then it goes on from there. So that's also the exciting part of really learning the records, really honing into it. I mean, there's just endless possibilities. There's endless things that you can learn. So I love it.
Yes. Okay, so last question before we jump into the reading. Is there something that really made a mark for you with reading someone or your own records? Like, was there something so impactful that you were like, oh my gosh, that was like crazy or amazing or, like so impressive?
Oh, that's a good question. And this pertains to the records, correct?
Yes.
Um, my gosh, my gosh. I think, well, I think this is a little bit general, but I think the more that I work with the records, the more that I realize that we are truly all one, and collectively we really do experience the same level of lessons, of pain, um, of cycles all at the same time. It's very interesting to me because sometimes when I have certain people that I read for, it feels like, for instance, I'll read someone on one day and then maybe 3 days later, it feels like the same lesson is being learned at that time. It feels like the same kind of season is happening for individuals. And even when I do holistic markets and I do little mini sessions for folks, there was actually one where that whole day, each beautiful soul that was coming to me, we were working with the witch wound. And I didn't know that that was going to be a thing. I just thought, okay, the first beautiful soul that came to me, it's just the witch wound, then the second, then the third, then the fourth. And so I don't know why, but it seems that there's a similar cycle that happens with people. And I think that's so beautiful to know because a lot of the times, and me included, we really do feel like we're going through these things alone, that no one else is walking beside us, that no one else kind of feels these things that we have to kind of grow through. And the reality is that's just not true. A lot of us are really going through it together collectively. And so I try to remind people of that all the time. So that's something interesting that I do see during readings. I'm
I
not sure about
love
you.
that you
Yeah,
brought that up because
yeah,
that's exactly what happens to me as well. And just real
yeah.
quick about the witch wound, if this is like your first episode of listening to us, there's a whole episode, go check it out. But just to simplify, it's like that fear of being seen, fear of being persecuted, fear of taking up space, as a person, as a woman. It could be male
Mm-hmm,
as well.
mm-hmm.
He, she, they, all the beautiful souls. But yes, I will have literally 1 week, every single person will be going through the same like karmic lesson. And then
Yes,
the next week, every
yes,
single person that comes will be working on a different
yes.
contract. And I guess I've been doing this for a while now that it feels like it's normal, but I love that you brought that up because it's so true. We are on this like collective mission and we are moving through these waves like together. And that is what I do really love about the records is like we are all one. And I'm taking this dragon course with Yolandi, Dragon Priestess. And this morning we were working with the water dragons and she was saying that water was here before anything, right? And dragons are
Yeah,
creators. And so water is literally like everything was created from water and we are made of water, right? So we are the creators and with ancient, source
yeah.
code. And I was like, it's just so powerful, like this magic that we have access to.
It's so beautiful. And I don't know why that just made me really emotional because it's true. It's a universal truth, and I know. how much confusion it can cause someone, because I've been there. I know what it feels like to feel like you are walking that path alone and no one is experiencing it or no one else has experienced it. It's just simply not true. And I think that's also part of my mission as well, is to remind people that we are one. We are collectively one, and we experience similar paths, similar karmic lessons, similar contracts, even at a similar point in time. So yeah, I love how you said that. So
All right, so let's dive in to the reading. So just for backstory, Holly and I have read each other for a couple years now, so we are familiar with each other's energy. But I just wanted to share just this beautiful experience with you guys. So what I'm gonna do first, we've already set the container, her and I, before the recorded session. So just know this isn't all the steps, and if you are interested in learning the records, check out the link below for my container. That's gonna be out next month. But okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to call forward Holly's higher self and I'm going to reveal any information that might want to come through just in this moment. And so, Holly, I'm going to ask for permission to open your records.
of course.
She is nodding and has said yes. And so I'm going ahead and asking her higher self, who's dancing and wearing a beautiful skirt and a flower crown, and is, of course, like welcoming me forward. So let's see what she has to say, if there's any divine guidance for Holly in this moment. Ooh, okay. So I know you just did a little rebrand with Rooted in Holly. And she's saying that the spice and the energy, right, the swag that you are bringing into your business is so important and impactful, and it's what's going to set you apart from everyone else. And not that like before you weren't, authentic or you weren't fully embodied, but it's as you expand your consciousness and you like grasp these different gifts from different lifetimes or activations, your soul vibrancy, they keep saying like radiance, that energy is embodying more into your human vessel, so you're discovering another level of authenticity that
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
available to you before. And so you were always authentic in every moment of your life, but the level at which you are opening to and discovering now is, oh, it's so elevated, it's so beautiful. And so I just, the swagger and like the spice is what I see, like that you're dripping in, kind of like the Powerpuff Girls where they're like a little bit of sugar, a little bit of spice, like that magic that you're putting in is like what is going to be so potent for your energy, attracting your clients, making an impact on this planet, being that bridge for the ancestral healing and calling in those people who are meant to also be activated in that. And whew, that just feels so magical.
Period. Yeah, I've been feeling that too. So that's a really great confirmation. I love that she said that.
All right. Do you have, I know we kind of practiced this. Well, I can
Yeah.
I can see if there's anything else, but is there any questions that you have?
I do, but if there's anything that she wants to, go through first, I'm open, but I do have a few questions. And if she doesn't, then we can go from there.
She's saying go for it, and then we'll expand.
Okay. Okay. Well, she already knows, but I think the first one, because I have been feeling a lot of new energy in terms of my team. And I think right now I would love to understand who are the main points that are really, really here for me right now. If she's available to share that. But in terms of just my team, my guides, I don't know why I've been feeling a lot of
Yes, you
newness.
have galactic energy coming through. I think it's Polaris. Let me douse real quick. So if you're not looking at the video, I have a pendulum and I have a list of people that I have here that I like to compare. So it is the North Star in the Ursa Minor constellation. They are bright, discerning, guiding. Shadow of this is like people pleasing, no boundaries, seeking external validation. And so you have a lot of yeah, guides. It feels like a herd. Like there's like a
Oh,
there
I know.
it's like 15 of them are like coming together and they're so radiant. So let me see if there's any information that like wants to come through for you about that. Okay. So I'm not used to working with this energy actually, and so I think it's really cool to come across it. And so they're saying like, right, when I think of Polaris, when I'm looking at the star, like I think it's the North Star, right? Like that's where in hundreds of thousands of years, people use the stars as a map to navigate home, to
Yeah.
navigate, the North Star. And so they're showing me that like you are literally the embodiment of the North Star energy, which is like the leader, but it's not in the way that it has been done before. And
Mm.
so they're bringing me back to that energy, right? Like you're putting your own swag into the way that you are bringing people to back to themselves and bringing back that cosmic wisdom. And I know you have a beautiful connection to like ancestral work. And it feels like this is a really big part of your journey and the people who are meant to find you and the impact, right? Because ancestral is DNA, ancestral goes back lineages. And with that energy, the impact like this. So, okay, what they're saying, whew, a lot of information. This happens sometimes, guys, when they talk really fast, and I'm like, give me a minute. Okay. Um, so for example, your lineage and a lot of people's lineage, especially like um in America, there has been a lot of suppression, right? And we have
Yeah.
not addressed this kind of healing in hundreds of years. And so we are coming back to our roots, coming back to the essence of the soul, right? The embodiment of the human vessel as it should be, as it was meant to be, as we are meant to be, right? Multidimensional beings. And so there's this like magic that you have that they want to guide you. They want to give you a blueprint that you've done before, right? And they're allowing you to imprint that into your field so that you can use that to help support your clients. And it feels like they're just like all supporting you. And it's like they have telepathy that it's like they're all coming in unison, where they're like, all, we're one and we are like, and you're one of them, and it's like, oh, it's magic.
I love it because I knew too. Before I even told you, I was like, I know this is galactic. I know it's galactic. I've been feeling it so much. I've been working with it a bit more lately, and I'm like, ah, it has to be. It has to be. So that's beautiful. Thank you.
It's interesting because in the past I would be like, oh, galactic, right? That's going to take me
Yeah.
into a past life out there to help me heal something else, right? Because ancestral is very human. That's our DNA. That's our mother's mother, our mother's mother's mother,
Yeah.
right? But actually what I'm learning is like all these guides are here, like we're reincarnated as human,
Yeah.
and we're meant to be here. And so, whatever support, galactic, dragon, fairy, whatever support is coming to you, it's to be the fullest embodiment of the human vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to clarify that I know you know this, but for everyone, because it was a huge misconception for me for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I completely agree. They go hand in hand. Oh, that was beautifully said. And I think right now in this phase of life, they probably know, I have been, I don't want to say the past month, dealing with some grief from someone who I lost. And also now feeling like I'm in this in between, that this last chapter of my life, which has been a long chapter, is ready to close. And it's exciting, but it's also a little scary, and I'm nervous because I know that this new chapter is ready to unfold. It just almost feels like the pen isn't there yet, and it feels like I'm in this in between. But I'm getting closer. It does feel like I'm getting closer. I don't know if I was just maybe also grieving that chapter as well and leaving it behind. And so guidance on that. And I think really it has to do with the fact a lot of things, but one of them, transparently, is I do feel, I know the last time we talked, it was going to take some time, but I had a very clear feeling of, okay, I think it's time to leave my current job and to go all in and with what I'm really meant to
Yes.
do. And so I'm a little scared. I'm like, am I really hearing that right? Is that right? And so just guidance with that too. I think guidance with just that whole area. So I know that's a lot to say, but anything that needs to come through, I am open.
Okay, so right when you said, should I leave my job? Literally your whole council started like singing. So I just wanted to share that with you,
Okay.
which for me is a hard yes, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But what I'm seeing energetically, right? So I'm seeing the timeline. They're showing me the timeline of this year. And it's actually that you quantum leaped earlier this year, it feels like you're still in this like integration period, which makes sense.
Mm,
You're grieving the part
yeah.
of you that was, you're not that person anymore. but you're not
Yeah.
quite like fully embodied in that new version of you, which makes a lot of sense with like what we were talking about in the beginning, right? You are at this new level of consciousness, and your authenticity, right, is really kind of grounding into this like new level of authenticity with the level of consciousness that you're at now, right? This new frequency. And so I'm literally seeing like with all this like all these changes you've been making, your right, your timeline is honing in on that
Hmm.
like divine path, right? And this is I think this is what you're feeling because it's a little uncomfortable because it's you've never done it before, right? In this lifetime to be that on your like divine purpose path. Like you've always been on path, but to be like it's like it feels like a razor focus. Like
Yeah.
so strong, like fully, like committing fully is it's a leap of faith. Even though
Yeah.
you know it, right? And so they're showing me like as they're showing me kind of like as it's a braid, like it's kind of a bunch of loose string right now. There's this is the visualization they're showing me, right? There's a bunch of loose string and this is the path and you're on it. But um to stabilize it, right? To ground into it, you're like there's a couple decisions that you're making. So the rebrand, right, is one. So that one is like it's the first layer of the braid that's honing in, right? The second one is quitting the job. That's like the second layer, right? And then let's tune in to see what else information they have to like kind of close that braid, right? So that it's like this
Yeah.
strong, powerful foundation for you to really be embodied in your purpose.
Hmm. Hmm. Beautifully said.
Interesting. Okay. I love this because it's kind of goes back to exactly what you said in the beginning in terms of learning the Akashic records and exploring and playing. And now they're bringing this to like the purpose. And so the first thing they said that felt important was like, don't look back. Like and not in a way of like, oh, you can still do inner child work, you can still honor that version of you, but once you've made a decision, don't second guess it. Like,
Ooh.
be in that truth and be like, I've made this decision, whether it be I leave my job or not, but whatever it is I've decided, it's done. Like,
Mm.
I'm in that next phase, right? And
Yeah.
so that feels important because if you keep kind of going back, it feels like that energy is um, still kind of being pulled, right?
Yeah.
Also, the energy that you are giving right now, it feels like your job, which I know it is. You're a beautiful writer for several magazines and newspapers, but it feels like there's like a slight, not an energy leak, right? Because you're choosing. There's a beautiful energy exchange, right? The money that you're
Yeah.
receiving and all the beautiful things, right? It's a beautiful. Um, necessity for, abundance at this time. But it does feel like it's a leak and it's a misalignment. And so because
Yeah.
of that, it is like siphoning a little bit of your like that authenticity that we talked about, right? And so the more you step into that decision of like your full authenticity and the little I keep saying the swag and all that that you keep putting in, you're gonna figure out like the next step with every
Mm.
client you have, right? So like let's say a client comes in, right? And you're like, "Oh, I'm going to use this like new tool and or I'm going to like I just had this
Oh my
activation with
gosh.
this new guide that just came through that we just talked about. And now I have this new blueprint and I'm going to do that." And all of a sudden like you're going to have a rush of all those people coming in and then there's going to be
Yeah.
something else. And so your like yeah, your specific blueprint will ground into your timeline as you move through it, which can be
Mm.
frustrating, right? Because it's like, oh, like I left, I'm ready, like let's just do it all right now, right? But there's this like level of stepping into who that you are in this fullest embodiment, right? And as you
Yeah.
increase your consciousness, like you can't go like 0 to 1 million, right? It's like, let's take the next integration of the next level of consciousness. And I'm going to help this like next amount of people. And then there's the next amount of people. So it's as if like you're growing, kind of like what I said with April too, like, right, we're growing, you're growing with your clients and the
Yeah.
people that are meant to meet you, right, along your journey, like who you are right now as Holly. There's like 100,000 people right out that could like find you who are at that level. And then the next level, right, like there's another group of people. And so it's like realizing and understanding that there's like no matter where you are, right? It's all about divine timing and trusting that like in any step that you are at, you're already successful. You're already in your purpose here and
Mm.
now. There is no like ending, right?
Mm.
The ending is like this moment. This is you're in it. You're done. And then the way you'll make more money, right? And be in your purpose more is just you grow and you expand
Yeah.
with time and age and experience and that comes with it. But it's you're like you've done it. You're in it. You
Yeah.
won.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so beautifully said. And I do feel that. So thank you for sharing that. And I think you kind of said it, but yeah, like I said, I do feel ready. Like I'm ready to almost kind of hit that red button and just be like, okay, we're out. Um, but like I said, it's like those little nerves. So if there is at least maybe one step or one little, step I can take to kind of get there, if they have any guidance on the next thing I can do in order to just allow myself to do that. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. So the first thing that's coming up is, do the people at your work like know about your like spiritual metaphysical business, or like that you do readings and sound and
Yes.
Reiki? Okay.
Yes. I mean, some, some. Yeah.
Okay. It actually feels important. Like some people, like more people than you know, are like actually needing your services within the company that you're in now. And I don't know how that's going to be like marketed or if that's even allowed, but it feels like there's some people there.
Yeah.
I love how the universe works because it's like we asked for the strategy, right?
I kind of had
And
a,
it's like, yeah.
yeah.
And it's like you're already doing it, but I'll no, it's like, okay, right. Like you're doing sound, you're doing Reiki, you're going to these markets, to do
Yeah.
the readings, you're going to um stores to co-host sound baths, you're doing all these different things. So your hand's in a lot of baskets right now. And
Hmm.
as you move through this and as you continue on the months, you're going to realize, like, oh, I really love doing this at this place. Oh, I don't actually like doing that. I don't actually like doing that. And I do like doing this. So it's a reallocation of energy that's going to
Mm.
take place, that's going to make room for more of what you want. I'll give you an example of my personal
Yeah.
experience. So I did Reiki, right, for a while, and then um, I never had like a lot of clients. My bread and butter has always been like Akashic Records. But
Yeah.
I felt really called when I moved to the South Bay to do in person. And I didn't really get it. I was like, I mean, it's fine. Okay, whatever. Like I do it online. Why, I don't need to be in person, but it felt important, right? And so I did actually learn a lot. I feel like I had one client for in-person Reiki like once a month. I didn't really want it. I felt like it was kind of like, it hurt my back. You had to like kind of get used to like the manual labor kind of aspect of it. You have to come like 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after to prep, set up. So like you're getting paid for
Yes.
the hour, but I have to drive there. It's like different, right? But I really appreciated the experience because it is different in person versus in like
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
or giving Reiki at least. I think receiving is very similar, but giving it is a very different container and sacred
Yes.
space that you're holding. And so I feel like I needed that experience now to teach it because now I'm teaching it in person and virtually. So it's like I feel like I needed both those experiences in order to like be at this next step, right? So I feel like that's what's happening for you. You're getting all these different experiences so that you can kind of like hone in on like your magic, right? Which is going to be something different like you said, right? Like it's going to be like a spin-off of like Akashic records, but then maybe with Reiki and sound it's going to be like Holly's blueprint for ancestral healing and cosmic wisdom or whatever that is, right? Like your own magic.
Hmm.
And it's like you won't know what that is until it's ready to drop in, and you won't know that until the experiences that you have been like completed.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. I love that. And I also gotta say, I love the fact that my guides were singing when I even asked about leaving. So that was great. That's fantastic. I love that.
One other thing that's coming through about that, which I'm not the biggest fan of like DMing people about, like cold DMing, but they're not saying that. They're more saying like utilizing your community. So for
Mm.
example, even me, and I'm happy to do this, like, hey, I'm about to leave my job or I just left my job. Can you promote just like my page? Maybe there's someone in my area
Mm.
that wants, my energy or whatever. And so then I would post it on my page like, hey, if anyone's looking for sound or Akashic or Reiki, out in the Inland Empire, then like that would be, wait, are you in the Inland Empire?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. This is all so funny because this is something I literally thought about 10 minutes ago before we hopped onto this podcast. So they're calling me out.
Validation.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's a little uncomfortable, but it's not because it's community, and I think it's different, right? It's sisters supporting
yeah,
sisters, like
yeah,
humans supporting humans. It's a little different than if you're like trying to sell people, which that I think
yeah,
is more cringe.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Oh, beautiful. I love that they tapped me on the shoulder with that one because I was gonna post something like on threads about it and then It's like, no, it feels cringy. So I know what they're saying. I get it.
Yeah,
So
and even
thank
this
you.
podcast, if someone finds you, like, I feel like most of my people who are on here, they tell me later, like, "Oh, I got a referral from this," and I'm like, "This is what this is about, right? Like, this is the
Yes.
point of all of this." And I'm just so grateful to be able to like hold the space, to know you, to like, just
Yeah.
all the beautiful things. She's also okay. Like, I come to Holly for Reiki. Oh my gosh, like one of the strongest, most powerful healers that I know. And like your readings after like my chakras are always like, I'm like blown away. It's like such magic.
And I love doing it. I really, really do. I love that magic. Oh gosh, thank you for sharing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think just to close it out, I do want to just a short one, and then
yeah,
it's going to be
wonderful.
about Bali. But the short, so they just to kind of reiterate, they do feel it's time sooner than later. It's time.
To leave the job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Let me see if there's
Okay.
any like more like
Oh yeah.
reassurance they can provide
No
you.
problem. No problem.
Wow, okay. They said that this big leap of faith of leaving the position of safety and security with a job that you might like, you might not like, but in past lives you haven't always liked it or been aligned. You're breaking the cycle because in the past you haven't been able to leave or change your
Mm,
life. And this
mm,
lifetime, you're meant to do it. You're meant to
mm.
leave. And so that's just more reassurance to support you in that when you do it, it's more impactful than, just this lifetime. It feels like there's five or six behind that are like closing out that karma.
Wow. Ah, I love it. I love God, we've had so many lifetimes. Jeez. Um there's so many that I've seen. Oh my gosh. I just had to say that. But that's beautiful. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I think lastly, I'm ready. I'm so excited about this pilgrimage to Bali in September. And I have always felt called to Bali, but I knew it was this year. I can't explain it, but I knew I needed to go. So if there's any guidance as to why and any guidance as to how they feel and what the intention that they have for me to go and anything of the sort, I'm just
Two
very
things are
excited.
coming up for you already. I want to come back to intention though, because that feels important and hasn't dropped in yet. First one, there's an energetic activation in the land that's going to be important for you. So I know just with you connecting, you'll be able to access that very quickly. The second one, there's like a shamanic mentor that's there that you're going to meet.
Mm,
Someone's there that is gonna guide you a little bit and like that next step you're asking for, right? Kind of the blueprint. It feels like there's someone there that's gonna support you with that. But let's go into the intention, right? Of what maybe, yeah, to place into the land when you go so that it can support you on the journey of whatever the journey is supposed to be, right? Okay, this is beautiful. The intention is actually expansion. And so they're showing me like the way you've lived life, right, has been like maybe a certain way. And I know you've done so much like, years of work of healing and all those beautiful things. And so you getting this activation in the land there is going to support activating your clients, and this is more on an energetic thing. So like when a
mm,
client comes to you, you'll have the blueprint and all those beautiful things, but the energetic activation that's like encoded in your like LLC in your business um, is what you're going to download there. And
wow.
so, yeah, and it doesn't
Beautiful.
even feel like you have to do anything. Like you could go an extra mile and actually like, your contracts and your business, you can actually just like encode it, bring the energy into the land, but it feels like just you going there is expanding this like these codes, right? Because Bali is so intentional. Like I've never been, but I've heard like
Yes.
the energy, the
Yes.
rituals,
Yeah.
it's like what humanity is supposed to be living like.
Right. Right.
Mhm. And so there's like this magic, yeah, that's there for you, and that's going to support your clients in an even deeper way than you are even being supported now. And so expansion, yeah, which I mean that's what they're giving me, expansion for activation.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Gosh, so grateful for that. So grateful. Thank you. I
Yeah, and
understand why. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to relate this to my experience in Peru, because I went because I felt like I needed to integrate the learnings of
Yeah.
2023, and that was such a big year, expansive year for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize like my channel wasn't fully open because of fear I had, and even connecting with galactic energies, I was scared to do it, so I didn't trust. And so when I would access it, my body would literally reverberate because it was like resisting that energy. And so until I went to Peru, connected with the land, went into like the center of her heart, was I able to actually trust my channel enough to open to connect to the galactic energies. And now it's funny in this dragon course we're taking, right? It's strong energy and a lot of people are experiencing kind of what I experienced in Peru. But because I think I've already opened my channel so wide, it's like it's not affecting me as much. Like I'm not having that energetic hangover, after an activation, but it feels like this like is gonna be your like Peru. Like life-changing,
Beautiful.
transformational, and it's like this, like you get what you take out of it, and it's going to be powerful because you
Yeah.
are already cultivating the intention how many months out, right? And that's
Yeah.
so important.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. Thank you for sharing that too, Dani. That's powerful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
beautiful.
Well, thank you so much. Is there any last wisdom that like just that you want to bring as an Akashic, reader and Reiki master and sound healer?
I think the only thing that really comes to mind is trust your light, trust your heart. I've spent so many years, so much time. Makes me quite emotional. I've spent so many years, so much time feeling that my light wasn't good enough and that my light wasn't deserving of being, you know, bright and shown to the world. And I think when we're children, we bring it and then we learn things along the way that allow us to dim it. And then we start to, cope with different things. And it's up to us to really unravel that and come back home to ourselves, to come back to who we've always truly been. And I just want to remind people that trust your light, trust your love. It is the guiding light. It is the way. It is the way that you find your truth, your authenticity. And no matter how long it takes, keep going. It's worth it in the end. And it's worthy of being bright and big and expansive in every single way. So that is my 2 cents that I have.
That's so beautiful. I'm getting an intuitive hit. They kind of want to know your story a little bit. Do you have like a quick synopsis of just that not feeling good enough and then what brought you to like the spiritual journey? Like, how did you find the Akashic Records?
How did I find the Akashic Records? Okay, so my little synopsis I'd want to say is, it's so funny as I was thinking about this the other day. I've been seeing this trend on Instagram of the butterfly effect. The butterfly
Yes.
effect is so crazy because if I didn't do X, Y, and Z, then I want to end up here. And I started thinking about for myself, and now I know I'm gonna have to do it, is I started thinking about this is around 2022. The butterfly effect is so crazy because for me, at least, if I wasn't brought to my knees with the worst heartbreak that I have ever experienced. And what's ironic about it is it's actually not. I've been experiencing heartbreak all my life. I've been carrying heartache and pain and trauma since childhood. Um, but that heartache was a little different. I've had partners in the past, but that was different because this one allowed me to crack open fully. I wasn't just healing from that relationship, I was healing from many, many years, many timelines, many versions of myself that didn't have the chance to really heal and be seen and be heard. And through that, I went on a path of really having to go inwards. I felt like I had no other choice. It was that was it. And I said, okay, let's do this. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done, but also the bravest and most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. And I know what it feels like to feel like you are just not enough. I've felt it my whole life through partners, through your family, through people, through school, through elementary school, through high school, everything. I've experienced it. And I believed that story. And it wasn't until I had to look inside myself and know that because of who I am right now, just breathing, just being here with you, Dani, I am more than enough. I am enough. That's it, period. No one else can take that away from me, and no one else can take that away from someone else as well. And so I found the Akashic Records through that healing journey, through that unraveling of myself. And of course, I found Reiki first. And then it was just one day I kept hearing the Akashic Records in my head, which sounds crazy. but I just kept hearing it. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing posts online about it. And I was like, okay, I think I need to answer the call. And I have an Oracle deck, Work Your Light. And I kept getting the Akashic card as well. And I knew it was time. And so I had, I found April right away, just same story, found her in like a week. And it just began. And it was like, I experienced it as when I found the Akashic Records, it was just like, it was just coming home, finally coming home to myself, to my loved ones, to my guides who have been there with me through many lifetimes, and just coming home to who I've always been and those soul gifts and how I need to show up in this life. So I always tell people, if you're ready and feel the call for the Akashic, welcome home, baby, because you really are going home and it is the most beautiful experience. So yeah, I hope that explains it, but that's how I found it and that's where I'm at.
That's such magic, Holly, and I 100% agree. It's coming home and it's absolutely beautiful. And the people who've already signed up for my course too, they're like, it just keeps popping up. Your program just keeps popping up. There's something about it, and I'm like, it's the call. Like I got called. I didn't even think I was going to teach it for another couple of years, and it was just
Yeah.
like, nope, it's time. I'm like, all right, the need is here, and I'm ready. And so it's just so beautiful. But Holly, what are you offering right now, and where can everyone find you?
Yeah, good question. Right now I am offering Akashic Record sessions. I'm also offering Reiki sessions, but most importantly, which I'm really excited about on June 8th, I'm not too sure when this airs, but on June 8th, if you're living in Southern California, I am co-facilitating a very beautiful mini Women's Day retreat on June 8th at the San Gabriel River, right by the river. We are going to have an Akashic cosmic sound bath facilitated by me. There is going to be energy and quantum healing by my dear sister Jonah. There's going to be intentional crafting of making flower crowns to connect with your crown chakra from Tony, and massages by the river and being able to swim and dance in the river. And there's just going to be a lot of playtime, a sacred circle. There's also going to be plant medicine hape as well. So it's just a chance for women to come reconnect with Mother Earth, Pachamama, with themselves, be in sisterhood, and just be seen for who you are and receive a little bit of healing. It's going to be very fluid. If you want to do the sound bath, you're welcome. If you want to play in the water, go do it. So it's going to be, just very open. So we're very excited. So that'll be June 8th, and I have it on my page.
Beautiful. I'll add all the how to access you in the show notes. And that sounds amazing. And if anyone doesn't know, we're in the Los Angeles area. So San Gabriel River is like in the kind of in the valley area of the Los Angeles
Yes.
area. But yes, thank you so much, Holly, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you, sister. And thank you for sharing your light, sister. Thank you for choosing the path to be free and to be yourself and your authenticity and being the teacher and facilitator and channel that you are. I am so proud. I love seeing everything you do. It is inspiring for me. And I know it's inspiring so many others. And I am in awe of what you do. And I just love women who are really stepping into their purpose. So thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. I just receiving so fully. And thank you for your vulnerability and allowing, the people to hear this wisdom. It can be scary. It's so beautiful. So thank you so much, Holly, sending you all the love.
Thank
Bye.
you.